What's going on, YouTube? Reezonoticz coming at you once again, and I wanted to do this video just to give my thoughts on a couple different things. First and foremost, and most important at the current moment, is the trailer, or the release trailer that came out yesterday for Sonic Lost World on the Nintendo Wii U and 3DS. Obviously, the footage shown was in large part, if not entirely, from the Wii U version, and I must say, first and foremost, thank God that Sega and Nintendo have finally come together to produce and create a Sonic title, because this game looks epic. It looks like the Sonic title we have all been waiting for ever since Sonic made the jump to 3D, since games modernized to the point where they started using 3D graphics back around the N64 and onward. Sure, Sonic Adventure on the Sega Dreamcast was a very fun game, and it was a very well done game in a lot of ways, but it wasn't the epic Sonic game that, you know, gamers had hoped for. When you went from Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3 on the original NES, and Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, and made the jump to 3D, and it flourished more than ever before on the N64 and Mario 64, Sega fans and video game enthusiasts as a whole were waiting for a similar success for Sonic, and it just never transpired that way. But rest assured, the trailer for this Sonic's Lost World, looks amazing. It borrows heavily. If you watch the trailer, you can see it on IGN.com. I can't believe I'm plugging them, but I gotta give props and props is due, because that was the only place that I saw the trailer on. I'm sure now it's probably on a bunch of different sites, but first place I saw was IGN, and a couple other videos from people I saw speaking about this trailer said the same thing, that it was only on IGN when it came out. Be that as it may, one look at this trailer and you will notice it borrows heavily and welcomely, if that's even a word, from Mario Galaxy and the design of Mario Galaxy. The gameplay looks just phenomenal. High speed, 3D, beautiful, vibrant HD graphics. You could tell right away from the level that they showed in the trailer, which is just brief, but it was enough to whet your taste buds. It looked like, you know, one of the classic Sonic worlds, Emerald Hills, I think it's called, or something like that, on Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, Emerald Hill Zone or something like that. Just looked very reminiscent of that. Corkscrews, loop-de-loops. There were areas in the gameplay that showed I don't want to say a switch in gravity like in Mario Galaxy, but kind of a shift in perspective, where you're running one way, you know, at one moment, then you go up the wall and flip, and all of a sudden the camera flips and you're running on the roof, so to speak. Just things like that, man. And it has the blazing speed that we want in a Sonic game, but it looks like they're using design tactics to make sure that what's happened in all these other Sonic 3D games that have come across the the annals of history since the 3D gaming hit big. You're no longer running into a wall at high speeds and just boom stopping, and the gameplay stopping dead and frustrating the hell out of you. It doesn't look like you're any longer having to deal with a shift from blazing Sonic goodness speed to all of a sudden clunky platforming controls. It looks very smooth. Sonic's got new moves where he runs full speed at a wall and runs up the wall and climbs the platforms at a pretty nice speed. So the gameplay looks fluid. Once again, I can't say enough about the look of the game. It looks beautiful. It looks like so many people are saying, and I happen to agree with, that this looks like the Sonic game that's going to return him to his glory days, man, to his top status as a gaming icon and just a great character. And it looks like the franchise is going to get some new life in it, thanks to Sega and Nintendo partnering on this exclusive Nintendo game. So that's awesome, man. I really have nothing bad to say about it. Some people complain about the look of the villains, or that it looks kind of cartoony and kind of kiddie. Sonic has never been a photorealistic game. It's never been a dark, serious game. It's been an adventure title, a platforming, a cartoony-looking adventure title with great gameplay and graphics, and that's what this looks like, even better. And I can't wait to see the specific innovations that the Wii U brings to it. From what I've read, there's going to be motion as well as touchscreen control support. Off-screen play on the gamepad is also an option. I want to see, they allow you to use, Wii U Controller Pro, Wiimote Nunchuck, or Wiimote Turn Sideways, as well as the gamepad, obviously. But this is looking very good, and this is just another feather in the cap of Nintendo as they continue to silence the critics about no third-party support. Only Nintendo's making games for this system, and if it's another company making it, the games aren't going to be that good. This looks to be a very good game. So that's first and foremost. That's what I wanted to talk about. There's nothing much else I can say about the trailer other than what's been shown, which is, like I mentioned, that it borrows heavily from Mario Galaxy, which is always a great thing. That's co-designed by Nintendo and Sega, so that's a dream made in heaven, a match made in heaven. the new gameplay mechanics as far as what we saw, the way the game runs. From what I saw in the trailer, there's a couple of different camera angles, if you will, or I shouldn't say that, gameplay perspectives. You have the classic side-scrolling, to 3D areas where the camera goes all around, to behind Sonic on rails 3D, blazing speed sections, things like that. It all looks like it flows very well. And of course, this is very early. It's supposed to come out in fall of this year, from what I've read. So it still has months to go. We're getting into June right now. It's still got a good 3 or 4 months before we may see it. So that's always good news. And like I said, man, this looks like an epic first. I want to say, that's not what I want to say. It looks like an epic exclusive for Nintendo's console. The 3DS version, I don't know how that's going to be, but the fact that it's exclusive to Nintendo consoles means that for Sonic fans all over the world, if they want to experience new Sonic action, it's going to be only on Nintendo consoles. So that's a definite plus for Nintendo. And Sonic has a very strong fan base. He was the longtime rival of Mario, and it's always been relevant, even to the point where after the Sega Nintendo war ended, and Nintendo was the victor, Sonic started showing up on Nintendo consoles everywhere, from Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, to Sonic Colors and Generations, to Sonic Unleashed, to Smash Brothers, to everything. So, what I'm saying? And even now Sonic Racing All-Stars Transformed. I can never say the name of that game completely right. I always mix the words up. But that game is available on the Wii U, and it just looks spectacular as well. I played the demo; it's very fun. But yeah, man, that's great news for Nintendo and Nintendo fans. So we just gonna keep rolling with good news as Nintendo continues to grow and get closer to E3. Also, man, I was just watching a documentary I had never seen before on YouTube. It was a 6-part series, if I'm not mistaken, from Machinima, I think is how you say it. It's this website there. Does a lot of gaming stuff, and they did a 6-part series on the history of Nintendo from the very beginning in the 1800s, 1880s or 1890s or whatever it was, to current day, all the way up to the release of the Wii U. And my God, man, I just don't understand. I've always appreciated it and cherished it as a Nintendo fan, first and foremost, and secondly as just a hardcore gamer who would not be playing games had it not been for Nintendo. And for all the Nintendo haters who turn around today, and look, man, the bottom line is Nintendo might not be going in the direction that some of y'all want. Some of y'all want blazing graphical power and processing horsepower and input and all that, and just the latest specs and all this, and that's great. If that's what you're into, man, go do you. Get a gaming PC, or stick with the Xbox One or PS4 or whatever floats your boat, okay? I can get that. But the funny part is that so many of these people that prefer that turn their nose up and completely disregard and to some degree disrespect Nintendo, when if it wasn't for Nintendo, you wouldn't be gaming. Even the younger generation that grew up in their gaming with the launch of a PS1 or PS2 and 3 or whatever, and that's their first experience with gaming, or the entrance of Microsoft into the video game market. Even those who started there, who never really started a Nintendo console, did you know that you would not be there? That you would not be enjoying those systems, that you would not be playing those games, had Nintendo not single-handedly saved the gaming industry at the very beginning? And not only saved it, but perfected it, sustained it, and revolutionized it and reinvented it time and time again so that it could become the billion-dollar industry that it is today? Did you know that you wouldn't be playing games and enjoying it if Nintendo did not exist? If Nintendo did not have the frame of mind that it has to follow its own drum and not go by the quote-unquote status quo industry standard and do their own thing, had that not been it, video games would have died out a long time ago, homie, and it's the truth. It's in the history books. You know what I'm saying? It's funny how so many of them can disrespect Nintendo after watching this documentary, which was completely unbiased. It told you all the failures Nintendo had along the way, and how they stumbled, and how they made bad business decisions and business practices with third parties and stuff like that, and the epic collapse of the deal that would have made a Nintendo PlayStation with Nintendo and Sony back right before the PlayStation 1 came out. That was just an epic failure on my part. And it is what it is. You can't reverse it. But who would not have loved to see Nintendo and Sony working together on a system? Jesus, the Lord Almighty, that would have been ridiculous. But anyways, a completely unbiased documentary, and it just highlighted how for pretty much around 3 decades now, Nintendo has been outlasting its competition. I mean, let's be honest, man. Sony has only been in this video game war, video game market for what now? Since '95. That would be what? That would be a little bit less than 20 years, right? It would be 95, 2005. Yeah, it would be about 18 years they've been in this. All right, Microsoft, even less. Microsoft has been in here for about 12 years. Nintendo's been doing this for 30 plus years. Atari has come and gone. ColecoVision's come and gone, even before Nintendo, but didn't last after Nintendo. 3DO has come and gone. Philips CDI has come and gone. Jaguar has come and gone. Man, every system under the sun has come and gone. Nintendo's still here. And is either on top at number 1, or even when they're at 3rd place or last place, they're still profitable enough to be around and get you excited for the next console, get you excited for the next release. It's amazing the durability, the longevity, the just overall power that Nintendo has in this industry when, mind you, Microsoft and Sony, if they did not have the deep pockets that they have and the constant flow of cash coming into their corporations through all their other outlets, be it TVs, computing, and all the other things that Sony and Microsoft do aside from video games, if they didn't have those deep pockets, the Xbox brand wouldn't still be here today. Sony's a different story. Sony would have been, no, actually no. Sony, once the PlayStation 3 came out and was selling for $500 to $600 a pop and still selling at a loss and didn't get off to the stellar start that it had it not been for all the money they had coming in through all their other outlets, they would not have been able to fund that system to keep it going so that you would have a PlayStation 4. I mean, it's amazing, man. The power and the creativity, the uniqueness, the unique nature of Nintendo's consoles and just Nintendo brand having a lack of cash inflow from any other place, because all Nintendo does is make games. Nintendo does not make phones. Nintendo does not make TVs, dishwashers, none of that crap. Sony and Microsoft all have multiple other outlets from which they receive cash that they can continue to pour into their system. Even if their system's a miserable failure from launch, they can continue to support it and pay out the yin-yang to get that thing to turn around. Nintendo doesn't have that option. Yet Nintendo continues to, even when it seems like their backs are against the wall. People have been saying Nintendo should go software only like Sega did since the GameCube. Well, guess what? Then here comes the Wii and completely puts them back on top. And they completely destroy Microsoft and Sony in the last generation. Now the Wii U, and then the 3DS came out. Oh my God, it's garbage. What a disaster. Now the 3DS is amazing and it's non-stop selling. Now the Wii U is out and it has a great holiday season, but now all of a sudden it's struggling because of lack of games and a bad economy. And people continue to doubt that Nintendo's going to get this turned around. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get the disrespect. I don't get the just lack of knowledge of history. I mean, just look at the facts. Look at the last 30 years what Nintendo's been able to do. Every time their back is against the wall. But you know, haters will hate. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like I had to make a video, and talk about that. First and foremost, like I said, the Sonic Lost World trailer is just looking beautiful. I cannot wait to play that game in its entirety when it launches in fall. I mean, that's when they said it was coming out. And then secondly, man, my thoughts on that documentary, man. If you want to take the time to check it out, you don't know if you're a younger gamer and you see me up here harping about Nintendo this and Nintendo that, and you just don't understand why I think Nintendo's so great, and you never had an experience with Nintendo like I did, I encourage you to check it out. Go on YouTube and just put in History of Nintendo, and you're going to see a 6-part series come out from Machinima, I think is the name of the website that did it. And it is an unbiased journalistic approach, a 6-part documentary over the entire history of Nintendo, from where they started in the 1800s as a playing card company to a toy company to making their dive into arcades and gaming and just completely taking the gaming world by storm to this very day. So if you're going to bash and disrespect on Nintendo, and that's you're right, you can do whatever you want. But if you're going to do that, at least you can do it from an educated perspective and know who you're talking about. Check it out, man. It's a hell of a documentary. I'm telling you, bro. It just refreshed my love for Nintendo and just my respect for what they have been able to do, and just basically got me to the place where I continue to give them homage, because without them there would be no me as far as a gamer, and there will be none of us, whether you want to admit it or not. So God bless y'all. Stay gaming, man. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, this rant, so to speak. I didn't mean to get all out like that, but I mean, I get emotional. I get involved when it comes to games. God bless. Later.